You guys, hi everybody. So before we get started, just a quick recap for people. So what is the No Time to Waste project? Basically what No Time to Waste is, I was on a phone call with somebody this week who was like, we all have a terminal illness called life, right? And confronting the reality of the fact that none of us are going to live forever is super scary. But if you're able to confront that, No Time to Waste is all about crafting a life without regrets, right? Looking at each 24-hour period as an opportunity and maximizing moments, focusing on the things that I talk about most, which is gratitude, human connection, and joy. So No Time to Waste project is my passion project. After most of you guys heard last week what this is, and I'm really proud of myself because I actually printed up something. You can see it. Look at this. So this is mirrored. And then I ran out of ink. But what is this thing that we're doing right now? It's basically interviews with inspirational, kick-ass people. It's a fantastic ROI in terms of your time. And let's be honest, you have a lot more of it because of COVID right now. It's real AF. I haven't showered yet today. I'm wearing sweats. I know that my bar has lowered week over week. And also free stuff, because I love free stuff. And there should be giveaways, which I'll talk about in a second. What is this not? It's not a podcast. You might be like, well, it feels like a podcast. It looks like a podcast. You're promoting it like a podcast. Why is it not a podcast? 3 reasons. 1, I don't want the expectations of a podcast. Like I want to be able to screw up or not edit things and just have it be kind of random. 2, I don't want the formality of a podcast. I want this to be fun and live and unedited. But most importantly, 3, I don't want the work of a podcast. I don't know what it takes to produce it and get it on Apple, the iTunes store and Stitcher and Spotify. I don't want to do all that. If someone else would like to do that, I'll keep doing my thing. But for now, it's going to be an IG Live show. If you've missed past episodes, just go to notimetowasteproject.com/show and you will get recordings of all of the past episodes that we've done. Super excited. Last week, if you checked out my hashtag I'm not crying, you're crying post, it was a special Instagram live, No Time to Waste live, with just me sharing a personal update. For those of you that didn't join, long story short, my breathing issues from this summer were not allergies, it was cancer. It's back, it's in my chest. And I started chemo this week on Monday. I am feeling not awesome, but not terrible. And, aside from accepting the fact that I'm back in treatment, which is a huge bummer, it was okay this week. So thank you to everybody that reached out and checked in to see how I was doing. There are chemo treatments and other metastatic cancer treatments that are super hardcore and gnarly, and I'm grateful that I don't think I'm going to be in that phase right now. So I'm going to get a handle on what my good days and bad days look like, and then, get ready to rock and roll. So today's show, super exciting. I was supposed to have Zach Yarbrough, who is this crazy burly former all-ACC football player who was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer as a man a little over a year ago. He went through treatment. He is now back carpeting the shit out of life, living in Florida, spends every day, it looks like, on the water, basically just catching fish. And I don't mean small fish. I mean basically they look like whales or sharks. And long story short, he reached out to me yesterday. He's been in a fishing tournament all week. The finals are this morning, and he was willing to stay on land to make the show this morning. And I was like, dear God, no, go live your life. At least go win. So he's out there right now. We are going to talk to Zach on Monday in a special No Time to Waste live at night, which is going to happen at 5 Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time on Monday, and then we're back to our regular show next Friday. But today I'm super excited because I'm going to share the story of a good friend of mine who I'm going to grab here in 1 second, Ryan Kaltenbach, whom I met at MindBody. He's got an incredible story of resilience and grit and faith that I'm really excited to share with everybody. And selfishly, I could use a little bit of that too right now. So I'm going to bring him on in a minute. After Ryan hops off, we're going to do a giveaway. Today's giveaway, it's basically just shit I really like. Number one is Gooder sunglasses. I basically just did a unpaid commercial on the Instagram story. They're awesome. They're polarized. I wear them when I run. I wear them when I'm doing water sports. I wear them when I'm trying to look cool. There's all different colors on the site. Winner will get to pick their color. And also, bringing back, you can't read it because it's backwards, but you can guess, this mug. Winner gets Gooder sunglasses. This mug. Gotta hold on till the end. We should be off within 30 minutes. Okay. So without further ado, I'm super excited. Also, when we finish with Ryan, I'm going to tell you about some upcoming guests that I just booked. They are ballers and badass, and like, I can't believe they're willing to come on this not podcast. So without further ado, I am going to welcome Ryan Kaltenbach, whom I work for MindBody, and a marketing analyst and a super smart guy. He just has a fantastic vibe about him. He is kind and giving and sweet, and also funny and dynamic. And
Hello.
I can't wait. There he is. Ryan,
how are you, Allison?
Yeah, good. You look far more put together than
I try to get dolled up for you. One of my favorite people in the world.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And thank you for hopping on. And I haven't actually talked to you or seen you in a long time. So it's great to see your face. Again, selfishly, I get to use this as a way to say hi to people and share with the world the people that I think are just fantastic. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. When your producers reached out to me last night, so I said I couldn't turn it down, right? Such a professional outfit here. I'm proud of you. Look at you.
Yeah. Hey, you know, just living the dream. / if this is your dream, you've got some basically your dreams are nightmares. So welcome. So what I'd love for you to share first is, like, you know, based on what you and I talked about, kind of why do you think you're here, and kind of what's the story that you think you know, I wanted you to talk about and share.
Well, you know, your first show is Keegan, Olympic athletes. Nobody better to follow that up than me, right? Yeah. Normal dad, living the dream. But you know, I do have an interesting story to share. But it's really, I'm living a lot of my heroics only through my wife, who's an incredible human being. I'd love to share her story. But first of all, I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but anybody on here already knows this about you. But when we first met, it must have been about 2 years ago at MindBody. And I know everybody listening can relate to this. There are certain people that come into your life, and when you meet them for the very first time, you feel like, this is sort of a cliche, but you feel like you've known them for a long time. But then there are also the people that every time they're in the room, you're just happier, more excited. It's hard to have a bad day when that person's around, and that person's been you, Allison. So I just, I don't know, cancer's going after the best ones. You have a lot of people that love you, and I'm just grateful to be on here and share some love with you.
Thanks, Brian. Don't make me cry. Come on, man. I've had like a good morning so far. We already had enough crying last week.
Yep.
But thank you for that. So yeah, share your story.
Yeah, so
it's a doozy.
I grew up in Encinitas, California, and my wife and I were in high school together. We were sort of mutual acquaintances. We had mutual acquaintances, weren't best friends. Started dating later in college. And it's one of those, you know, where we've been together about 20 years now. And I like to share this story because it reminds me so much of the movie Sliding Doors. Do you remember that movie? Gwyneth Paltrow?
Yes, Gwyneth. Like maybe.
Yeah, it's a better concept than an actual movie in terms of the execution. Sort of a forgettable movie, but like the concept is so mind blowing. I think about sliding doors moments all the time, and I like to sort of relate this. So my wife was living in Hong Kong at the time. I was in college doing way too much drinking. I wasn't really happy with how my life was turning out as a 20-year-old. And I get this email, and this is way pre-Facebook. I get this group email. This is back when everyone's first email address, if they weren't a working professional, was just their college.edu email. So I get this email. It's this group email to
Yeah.
like 40 or 50 other people, and it's this woman, Charlie. It's her update from Hong Kong, saying, "Hey, my family's in Hong Kong. This is what we're doing." And it, you know, I was relating earlier about how every time I'm around a person like you, I light up. She's very much like this as well. And I remember thinking, oh, wow, like my life kind of sucks right now. This woman's amazing. Let me respond to her. And I basically responded to her saying, hey, let's grab lunch as soon as you're back in town and back in San Diego. And she would later go on to tell me that if she knew that I was in, uh-oh, look out.
Uh-oh.
Sorry.
Sorry,
She
hold on.
later went on
Okay,
to tell me
sorry.
that if she knew I was on that group email, that she would have taken me off because she would have thought to herself, "Oh, like Ryan doesn't care. We're not super close. Like, why is he on here, right?" But you know, fast forward in time, we have our first date after we're both back in San Diego. We've been together for 20 years since. So anyway, sliding doors moment, right? If she just gets scared.
Yeah.
I went back and I want to pause real fast. Listen, I watched your first IG Live where you were up in the mountains of Boulder. I was in Boulder when I got that email. I went to CU Boulder for undergrad, one of my favorite places in the world. Congrats on living there. It's just the best. Um, and where was I going with this? I don't even remember. But so so fast forward in time, my wife and I. Let me share with you about her actually. She was born with a terminal illness called cystic fibrosis. Some of you on here may probably know it. It's not super uncommon, but obviously it's rare. Last I checked, there's somewhere about around 30 to 40,000 individuals that have it at any one time. And back when she was born with it in 79, it was very much a child killer. Like it wasn't a disease where it allowed people to live past um, I want to say, you know, past their youth generally. And there's sort of a spectrum with it as well. Some people have a more severe case, some people a little bit less. And really what it affects is the lungs, digestive system, a lot of immune system issues. So like if you get an infection, it goes straight to your lungs. Essentially, you have like terrible pneumonia-like symptoms. Mucus is building up in your lungs. It's a terrible disease. When my wife was born with it, it took the doctors a long time to figure out what was going on with her. And when they did, my mother-in-law was already well pregnant with another child, and it turns out that her sister was also born with it. So her sister was born with uh, a more severe case of it, and so but because they had this mutual bond, it's almost like they were twins, even though they were you know, not that much more than a year apart. But it felt like they were twins in terms of their bond. Um, Unfortunately, my wife's sister did pass away when she was a teenager after a lung transplant back in, I believe it was 93. And but my wife was always told when, you know, like maybe she'll grow, or her parents were told, you know, maybe she'll grow to be elementary school age. And then when she got to elementary school, it was like, okay, maybe high school. And she's always been given these crazy timelines. And we met when she was in high school, and I just knew her as this girl that everyone liked, everyone respected. I didn't really know a ton about her, and it was really after we started dating that I understood the full weight of her disease. But she's just an amazing human being. Obviously, the fact I'm talking about her in the present tense, we're both 41. I don't even know how old I am. I think 41. Yeah, we're both 41 now. We are parents, which is a whole nother miracle. We were told not to try to get pregnant. We did. Doctor said, don't do that. We might have to terminate. We said no. Our son Harrison was born a little bit premature, and other than the fact that he's kind of a space cadet, he's doing great. And no, he's perfect. And yeah, Life is good. There's so much to be fearful of in life, but we've sort of found that if we can replace our fears with faith, which is a lot of the project that you're undertaking here, it makes every day a little bit brighter. And for us, that's been sort of a life challenge to try to replace potential fears with faith.
Yeah. What, I mean, I think about going through that as a couple. I know that Charlie had to undergo a double lung transplant
Yep.
and a heart transplant,
Whole new
which
engine.
is a whole new engine. And you had to navigate that as a
Yeah.
couple, right? How did you get through that together? How did you get through that as a partner? How? Like what did you lean
Um,
on?
maybe to give a little bit of that story and then some perspective on it. So this was 2012. So my wife, her lung her lung function was had always been sort of going down. It's the kind of disease where you are constantly going to the doctor and they're telling you, like what your lung function is relative to somebody your sex, height, weight, and all those kinds of things. And she was dipping into the low 30s and then the 20s and into the teens. And so she was at the point where they relate it. The best analogy is plugging your nose and then having breathing through a straw. Obviously, you can do it. It's not fun, and you would never want to live like that. And that's a lot of how she was living her life at this point in the early 2010s. So she eventually got on the lung transplant list up at Stanford. We were living in San Diego at the time. They said, if you're going to be on this list, you have to move up here. So we had to move up to beautiful Palo Alto. But so we put life on hold and moved up there and just waited for a phone call. And they had also told her that she would need to get a heart transplant as well. She had a perfectly functioning heart, but because she'd had her lungs had she'd had lung issues in high school where they had essentially like one of her lungs had deflated, and there was all this scar tissue and issues going on. Her lung was her heart was like under her armpit, which was kind of an amazing X-ray because everything had shifted inside her chest cavity. But they realized that in order to take out the lungs, they would need to take out the heart as well because of all the scar tissue, and it would be too potentially damaging on the heart. So in February of 2012, we got this phone call while we were living in Los Altos. I was working on a school project remotely, and it was about 8 in the evening. And we're people of faith, and the one thing that we just did talk about before getting this call was let's pray that when this phone call does come, one, we realize the weight and the severity of it. This is another human being that's lost their life, and another one of the reasons why we're trying not to selfishly say, like, can this hurry up already? Can this come? Because we knew that this was going to be another person, potentially another father, another mother. And so we get this phone call, and this was the phone call saying that their lungs had become available. And it turns out it was another mother with children. And funny enough, her name was Birdie. I don't know if you know that, but yeah, and so this beautiful mom lost her life and ended up giving her lungs and her heart to Charlie. But as people of faith, the one thing that we wanted to look for when this phone call came was replacing any fears with faith, and that we would feel nothing but peace when this phone call came. And that's actually exactly what happened. Like I can't. It's really hard to describe why this took place, other than maybe the fact that we prayed for this exact thing. We wanted a peaceful, a completely peaceful experience, and that's exactly what it was. Obviously, we had a little boy who was, I think, 3 or 4 at the time. But when that phone call came, we felt nothing but absolute peace. And so we went to the hospital, and not very long later, she went under the knife. And after a few complications during the surgery and post-surgery, you can hear our golden doodle in the background. Sorry about that. Probably trying to say hi to Birdie. And so it was a very remarkable time, actually quite spiritual in a way, without being religious in a way. it was just very spiritual, because we did feel that peace through the entire process. We continued to live up in Los Altos for about 3 months while she underwent physical therapy on a regular basis, and then moved back to San Diego. And her life has been just it's been a 180-degree turn ever since then. I was doing a lot of things around the house, the vacuuming, changing bed sheets, and just all the things that we take sort of for granted as like living, walking, moving around human beings, was such a struggle for her. Walking upstairs, helping her get upstairs, and things like that. But now she is just this incredible mom, and we're now fostering a baby. So we wanted to expand our family even more.
Yeah, can we like hold on for 1 second? You tell the story and you go through everything that you've gone through as a couple and as a family. And then you have Harrison, even though everyone said don't have a baby, and you're like, we're gonna try. And then they were like, you probably should. You're like, no, we're gonna have him. And now he's thriving and a tween
Very much
and loving life. And then, as if that wasn't enough, you and Charlie decide that you have more love to give. And I remember having a conversation with you now years ago at Mind Body, but I remember you just describing like, we just feel like we have more, like we have more to give, right? Which is just so admirable. And now you went through the process of applying, which is not easy, to become foster parents. And I did see last night that not long ago, a couple weeks ago, you got the call.
Another phone call we were waiting for.
A baby.
Yeah.
Another phone call that was like, we have a baby. Could you please take care of this baby? And know that you will potentially have to give this baby back. What? You guys are crazy.
Yeah, that's sort of exactly how we describe it. We had more love that we could give in our family, and wanted to give. We had decided about 2 years ago, there are so many hoops to jump through when becoming a foster family. That movie Instant Family tries to talk about it, but it's done via montage, and all of a sudden 3 minutes later in the movie, they have kids. Hey, what do you know? And we decided that we wanted to have a newborn to start. The agency we're working with actually only has kids from newborn to 5 years old. So we knew the child would be young, but because of COVID and my wife's compromised immune system, so she's on all these medications post-transplant, so the rest of her life she'll be immunocompromised. But so we knew that we wanted a newborn as well, just fresh out of the oven, to try to keep exposure limited if possible. And so, after almost 2 years of doing all the classes and certifications, it probably took us longer than other people. Were a little slow, I guess. But we became active about 2 months ago, and we're waiting for a phone call. And we got that phone call about 5 or 6 weeks ago, saying there was a little baby that was needing some help. And there's like a lot of these kids that are born around the world and around the country, that really what it is, like their parents are going through stuff, right? Like whether it's decisions they made on their own or things that are occurring in their life that aren't up to them, are leading it so that there's kids all around the country that need help like this, while their parents, their mom and their dad, sort of figure out life, whatever's going on with them. There's a need to take care of these kids. And so we thought, hey, hand up, we can do that. We would love to do that. And our foster son has been just the most angelic gift to our home. While we're sitting here with COVID, why not just have a beautiful newborn just laying on your chest sleeping? It's like a wonder drug. I'm telling you, we're just so happy.
I'm sure, man.
It really is.
Oxytocin.
It is. And the possibility that he goes back to his home or a family member's home of his parents is very real. In fact, there's a decision coming up next week about that. So it's very possible, and that will be heartbreaking. But the old saying, it's better to have loved and lost than not loved at all. That's sort of the most applicable thing that I can think of with this. And hopefully that we will have helped him start his life right, feeling a nurturing bond. Really, that's like all it's all about early on in life. And so our hope for him is that he gets that.
Well, I know you. I know you have to hop. One thing I want to ask before you do, what No Time to Waste is all about. You and Charlie and Harrison, right, have lived it. What is No Time to Waste? What does it mean to you? How do you sort of live like there's no time to waste every day now, going
Yeah,
through
it's
what you've been through?
perspective, right? It's understanding that whether it's you and you think that you have a long time left, or somebody that doesn't necessarily have time left, and there's absolutely no guarantees. Um, it's a proper perspective to put on life. Do something special and fun and great, and you are being put in this very unique perspective, or this unique situation where that becomes glaringly obvious. And in some cruel way, that is also a gift, right? And you're feeling that, I'm sure, through the really ups and downs of going through what you're going through. Charlie's very much felt that as well, and I think that's one reason a lot of people are drawn to her as a human being, is because she has that perspective, and whether people realize that or not, whether that's on the forefront of what they're feeling, or what they know when they're interacting with her, that's what they're interacting with, is somebody that has that perspective. And so to help people be reminded that each day is a gift, and that we can do so much in life, and should do so much in life with these opportunities, it's really, really special. So thank you for reminding us all. It's one of the most helpful reminders you can give. So thank you.
Well, thank you for last minute
Yep.
hopping on, sharing your story. I could talk to you for hours, and we probably should anyway, because I miss
You
you.
were always the person. We
I know you've
didn't
got a heart.
directly, no one reported to anyone. We always had lots of work we could talk about. We always ended up talking about family and life, and other things.
Yeah, we never talked about it. Yeah. Well, you've always been somebody that I've admired. Your faith, regardless of what religion people subscribe to. I've always had a tremendous amount of respect for anyone who has a strong faith, because to me, that's real strength, right? Looking at uncertainty in the eye, having the courage to sit in that uncertainty, and then finding a faith in something bigger than yourself, whatever that religion or that spirit or that belief is. Those are always the people that I've encountered in my life, where I've been like, there's something about that person, that resilience and that strength is coming from something inside them that's tied to something bigger. And since the day I met you, you've always been one of those people. So thank you for sharing your story, and it helps me, and I hope it helps other people that have listened. And I'm so freaking happy to hear that Charlie and you and your family are all thriving, and kudos to you for like living life and loving, right? Like there's no time
Thanks,
to waste,
Allison.
'cause
You're the
that's what it's
best.
about. All right, have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye, Ryan. So there went, I mean, like, can anybody wrap their head around that? Like, his wife diagnosed with cystic fibrosis, which is a terminal illness. Her sister dies when they're teenagers. She ends up getting a double lung and a heart transplant that she lives through. They have a child, and then they go, there's more that we could give. And they apply to be foster parents, and now they're taking care of a baby, knowing that they are going to be there for an undisclosed amount of time taking care of this baby, and then they are going to potentially have to hand him back. Like, right? I'm just so in awe of Ryan and his family, and I'm really happy that I got to share. All right, so minimal tears today. I hope everyone's excited about that. I'm going to do the giveaway of the mug and the Gooder sunglasses in just a second. But first, I want to let you know what's coming up on No Time to Waste Live. Ryan was a great example of the fact that, No Time to Waste is this show is not just going to be about interviewing people that have cancer or have been through cancer or have even been through medical issues or terminal illnesses. Like, that's not what it's about. It's about talking to people who have faced and overcame massive, massive challenges in their life and done it with grit and grace and people's story that I want to share, because I want to hear where that resilience came from, right? Because selfishly, I'd like to know. And I think it's valuable to other people. So you're going to see that we're going to have like a mix of people on the show, which I'm super excited about. So Monday, we're going to test out a new time slot. It's going to be at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm calling it No Time to Waste Live at night. And we're going to see if more people join live, because I don't know if this is a tough time or not. So Monday night, Zach, who is the fish guy, who is basically raising awareness around male breast cancer after just finishing treatment and just has like this incredible spirit and is obsessed with fish. I'm going to talk to him on Monday. Next Friday, we're back on track, back to the regular time slot. I've got the founder of Trail Sisters, which I'm super passionate about, Gina Lucrezi, who's a professional ultra runner. She started this thing called Trail Sisters, which is basically this like grassroots movement to get more women involved in hiking and trail running and like loving the mountains. And it's just a complete, she's just on a mission and she's got a great spirit. So I'm going to bring her on. Then look at the 3 people that I just freaking booked. Okay, here's one. If you go to notimetowasteproject.com/show, you can see the upcoming guests. We've got NC runner Jackie, who is, I don't know if you notice here, she's pretty much in the Alps. She's also running with a blade. So she is an 18-year now cancer survivor. She is an amputee. She's now a professional ultra runner that runs far faster than anybody else I know on 2 legs with a blade. And she just got the world record for running 100 miles as an amputee on her treadmill in a row in like the fastest time. She's a beast. Then we have, which is back to back, another amazing amputee story. This is Roderick Sewell. He, in October of last year, is the first double amputee to complete the Ironman championships at Kona. So the Ironman is basically a 2.4 mile swim, a 112 mile bike, followed by a freaking marathon. And Roderick did this without legs. He did it with 2 prosthetic blades. And if you watch him in the pool or you watch him in transitions, he is otherworldly. And I can't wait to talk to him. I've got an amazing story, comeback story, one of my favorites, Hillary Allen, AKA Hilly Goat, Hilly Goat Climbs. Hillary is a professional ultra runner, and in 2017, I mean, I used to follow her. She was running a sky race in Norway. She fell off a ridge, 150 feet, broke 12 bones, had to relearn how to walk again, and is now back better than ever, running. She's fallen in love with gravel bikes. She is currently living in the French Alps, where I believe she got stuck initially because of COVID, but decided to stay. And she's going to come back and tell her story, which is just this incredible comeback. And then it's not all about athletes, although he's an athlete too. This is Chris Heisler. He and I went to musical theater camp as kids. That's right. Where we were directed by Tina Fey. That's like a whole nother story. But Chris was the former global run concierge for Westin Hotels and Resorts. And for 7 years, you know, he traveled around the world and basically got to go run with people at hotels and jump into races and be this fantastic brand ambassador for Westin. And I heard him on a podcast a couple weeks ago where he actually shared a story of now being in recovery for over a year from alcoholism and kind of what it was like to be this dichotomy of, you know, representing wellness, but then having a drinking problem at the same time, and how he calls it kind of the perfect cover up. And, you know, talking about what he's learned in recovery in the last year, how it's impacted his life. And for those of you that don't know, I've been sober for 12 years, and recovery was a really important part of my life for the last 20 years or so. So I'm excited to bring him on, because like, it's not just about athletes who are gnarly. It's not just about people who are amputees. It's about people who are living life like there's no time to waste. So I'm super excited for that upcoming schedule. If you know anybody, especially if you know somebody has a lot of followers, like, let me know. Shoot me a DM, or just do the contact us on notimetowasteproject.com. So that's super exciting. But without further ado, I think we have to be ready next week. Next Friday, I'll be coming at you live, not from Hatu, but from a dude ranch in Colorado with my sister. And I'm super excited about that. Because when you're basically dealing with chemo, might as well go hang out with a horse, or get a massage or something. So, okay, without further ado, I want to keep it tight here, because remember, ROI. We've got two things. The winner is going to have their choice of Gooder sunglasses, and they're going to get this mug shipped directly to them. What I need to see in the comments of the IG Live right now is the hashtag faith over fear. Hashtag faith over fear. Faith over fear. Who's going to put it in first? I know there's a delay. Faith over fear. Ryan talked about it. I mentioned it on Instagram. There it is. Faith over fear. That's it. Everybody's late. Liz Yoshino, Liz Kingsbury. Nope. Everybody late. Everybody's late. You got to be real fast, guys. Liz Kingsbury, please DM me, and we will ship that out to you. Super excited. Also, just going to share the quote of the week. Hold on one second, and I'm going to post this. Okay. The quote of the week is about courage, because I am trying to have courage right now. Oh, I can't even find it. Let's see. I think it's on my phone. This show is amazing. Thanks, Mom. Of course the show's amazing. It's your daughter. All right, hold on. I guess you're gonna see it, but basically the today's quote is about courage, and courage is not the absence of fear, right? But it's being brave in the face of fear and walking through it. I'm butchering it, but that's basically the quote. I'm going to post it in a couple minutes. I appreciate you guys coming in and joining me live. There were less tears this week than last week, which is great. Thank you for continuing to support No Time to Waste. Please tell your friends about it, because I ain't got shit to do but get this message out there, and remind people to live and love like there's no time to waste. So love you guys. Have a fantastic week. Reminder, I'm going to see you on Monday evening, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. See if that time slot works. And then I'll see you same time next week on Friday. All right. Bye, guys.